Hi instructors, my name is Kathleen Shaw, and in this video I'm going to be giving you I'm going to be going over the Unit 4 Instructor Guide. So Unit 4 is going to end with a summative critical evaluation essay that really showcases the skills that students have learned throughout Units 1 through 3. The critical evaluation will focus on the article that you selected and assigned as reading 4. Students will also find a reading 5 independently through searching on the databases or looking online. They're looking for an outside source to incorporate as a part of the counter argument. What is a critical evaluation essay provides a sample paper in this article that's a really helpful way of seeing how the planner that's going to be used throughout this particular unit can be converted into paragraph format. So in this unit, there is a planner that's kind of a long form planner divided into 2 parts that asks them to really investigate the article that they've been assigned, as well as in the planner itself, locate an outside article. And so the planner really pulls together a lot of the elements that we've been asking students to do throughout the semester. The planner is broken down into lots of different sections, and again, it's a 2-parter. So it's really helpful to show students what is a critical evaluation essay, that article, because it's going to include the sample that shows them where the planner is going and how they might be able to convert some of the ideas from the more planner element to an actual paper. So the first part that they're going to submit is the evidence section of the planner. The evidence section is going to include things like logical fallacies, evidence, and it's also going to ask them to find a counter-argument source. So that's where reading number 5 is coming in. Reading number 5 is going to be something they locate on the databases themselves, and then they offer that as a counter-argument, a counterpoint to the article that they were assigned. There's also a section in logical fallacies. So those are some of the terms that students will need to understand in order to be able to complete part 1. Part 2 looks at language and credibility. So there are some questions about tone, about connotation, about emotive language. They'll need to evaluate the source and the author's credibility, including if they need to do some research online in order to do so. That's going to be a part of this second section of the planner, part 2 of the planner. They'll also need to understand ideas like worldview and bias in order to gauge the author's credibility. The progress check is going to be based on some options that you can choose from to assign for them. And that's going to be, you can do it in the form of a conference or a draft. That's going to be an option where students check in and have a moment to figure out how to convert the planner into a paper. Week 14, there are no assignments due. Students are instead focusing on making the final draft. So looking over common modules would be helpful, including things like APA, reminders about paraphrasing, a CSAT formula, which would be helpful, and incorporating those outside pieces of evidence, looking into thesis statements and the grammar module. And it's also recommended that they meet with a Writing Center tutor, especially since they don't have anything due in that week. And then week 15 is going to be the final critical evaluation essay. So this would be a good time to remind students to complete course evaluations, and it would be a good time for posting announcements, letting them know once the final grades are done. So just some reminders there. As far as the actual information goes for the critical evaluation writing, there's a very clear kind of procedure in this unit, moving from the planner and pulling out all the information to the second part of the planner and pulling out more information. The very last thing they're going to do on the second part of the planner is create a thesis statement based on that information. So it's broken down kind of week by week very clearly that they're progressing towards writing a draft and then towards this final critical evaluation that really shows everything they've learned in the course. In the learning materials for Unit 4, There are some articles about evidence. You'll see that some of them are referenced in other units as well. So some of this might be review that they may just need to have available to them as they're answering questions. The fallacies information is here. Ethos, pathos, logos is here. So if they have any questions about source evaluation and author credibility, a lot of the resources are pulled into this Unit 4 learning materials. As far as the assignments go, it is in order. There is the planet. There's the planner part 1 that it goes over. There's also summary included in this planner part 1. So they'll be summarizing the article Unit 4 that was provided by the instructor. They'll be looking at evidence, fallacies, and coming up with counter evidence ideas in this planner. And then in the second planner, they'll be looking at language use, credibility, worldviews, and biases. And the last thing they'll do is construct a thesis statement. The progress check, there's a couple different options. You can conference with them. You can have them submit a first draft. You can ask them to meet with a tutor in the writing center to go over their draft, or you could have them participate in a peer review session, or fill out the checklist that's available here. So some options there, all in service of that critical evaluation essay, which is going to be their longest essay to date. 4 to 6 pages total with APA formatting, and again incorporating those not only the primary source that they were given by the instructor, but also their outside source, and if they use any other materials to gauge credibility, those as well. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to email your course leads or speak with your department chair.